8 to 10 a.m. and you're listening to
Right, when we chat, so later on we'll do the focus on imams, and we'll speak to the imam from the Muslanga Mosque in Durban, and that's Maulana Mohammed Kaka. So looking forward to that conversation. But champion spotting is what we do now. It's a feature that is completely aligned to what I do as the driver of Champion South Africa movement, with the goal of building South Africa into a champion nation. We do that by building the champions that build a champion nation. That means I spend lots of time doing some champion spotting. So bottom line to all of this, Dr. Mohammed Kaka, well, you've been champion spotted, and that's why we talk with you. Thanks for your time. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam and assalamu alaikum to all your listeners.
Thank you. Now we're talking to you because of I think a rather significant community award that you received just recently. Tell me about what is that award, and tell me the significance of it.
Okay, it's an award by an organization called ASAIPA. ASAIPA is an association or society that represents all independent medical practitioners. So apparently somebody nominated me and they do some verification checks, and well, by default, I managed to get the award.
By default, what did the citation say? Often when people get awards, like, what did they say about me? So what did they say about you in giving you that award?
Okay, it was based on many categories, but the citation was for community service. That is, well, one was ongoing community service. Two was the establishment of a non-profit clinic in Azadville, the West Rand, for the community. Thirdly was a COVID center. And then there are other initiatives that we involved in or we spearheaded, for example, Azadville Green Team, which involved in beautification and enhancing our environment. I'm also involved with the West Rand IMA and sit on the board of the Azadville Muslim School and a few other charitable organizations. So it's a culmination of being involved with several other people, and that I think is what's afforded.
Okay. And I mean, so well done on the award, right? And when you were told, we're going to award you, like, what did you feel? What sort of thoughts and emotions went through your mind?
Initially, you're quite surprised, and then you feel good. You feel good for a while because acknowledgement. But once it sets in, one has to reflect, and then you think that this effort or this award is reflective of the privilege Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us to be able to do stuff, to do things. It's not anything you yourself can accomplish without the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second part is an award like this is not reflective of one person. It's a reflection of many, many, many people behind the scenes, the unsung heroes. And if you give me the opportunity, like in Azadville, my getting the award is reflective of people like Mr. Ismail Nana, Andy Zora Mayat, Fahim Saith, my wife and family to give me the time, moment. But lots of people, it's their efforts that make this work possible.
Well, it's good that you acknowledge them.
It's humbling. It's humbling.
Yeah. Well, alhamdulillah for that. Now, I said at the outset that from a champion South Africa perspective, we want to build the champions that build the champion nation. So let's take it to you personally. I mean, how important is it to be, in your case, best in class, so champion in your space, but then also champion great causes, which is what you've just done. How important is that in the overall scheme of building a champion nation with the type of capacity to lessen the burden of people and to make lives much easier and hopefully a lot more happier and pleasant?
Okay. Firstly, from an Islamic perspective, right, it's doing what we do we all just, every individual is a servant. So we servant to Almighty, we servant to our Prophet, we servant to our families, but we are also, we are duty bound to our communities. And that is the principle that I think I encourage. Another thing that really, that I reflect on a lot is, what would Almighty be pleased with? Okay, what would Almighty be pleased with? And religion aside, it's every action that you do for the community, for another person. That builds bridges, that affords opportunity, that adds barakah and afiyah to your life.
Mm, mm, mm,
So, from a philosophical point of view, as a Muslim, you don't have to worry about your risk. That's taken care of. It's the barakah. And the barakah you get from this, and afia comes from your dealings with people, from what you can do to assist people and society at large.
So
So
that point
yes,
about what will Allah be pleased with? I mean, I take that is a filter for all your actions in dealing with community.
yes. Honestly, it does, huh? If I get a call at midnight and somebody ill, and initially there's a bit of human reluctance, but
Yeah.
then you think to yourself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has never, ever, ever turned you away. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has always kept you in his mercies. And what would Allah expect from you?
What would, in this case, what would please Allah, and that's an
Yeah.
important driving force. And, let's talk about your career. I mean, how did you get into this space? I mean, just some of your early your early journey that you can share with us.
Well, graduated from Wits Medical School, did community service, resided in Azadville, set up practice near Azadville. But being a resident of Azadville and knowing the community, obviously one felt an obligation to your immediate community. And these things, like I said, so you take it, it's by default. It's by default. And the encouragement and assistance of other people. Uh, uh, a lesson, an example is during the COVID crisis, we did what we had to do because there were people ill. But there were non medical people, for example, Mr. Fahim Said and Ismail Nana, who called me privately and said, listen, we are at your disposal 24 hours a day. What do you want? You call us. So, knowing that non medical people had undertaken to do what they needed to do, you just had to go on. So that is the encouragement. That is the stimulus, right? And I think it's a matter of taqdeer. I personally didn't plan anything, nor did I endeavor to do anything. It's opportunities and privileges afforded to us by Allah.
And I mean,
That's it.
absolutely, alhamdulillah. So I mean, and therefore, you winning this community service award, it just shows you, we often talk about our country and so much of the problems we experience as a nation. And I've often made the point, you build a champion nation by building champion communities, right? And I mean, your example, and maybe the two volunteers who stood up and said, count us in whichever way possible, is a good example of what can be done when we look to the point of we can make things happen other than simply commentating about it. I'm looking at the example of, say, potholes, right? The logical thing is to curse it, to be irritated and to be very angry. But there are examples of, like, your example was COVID. There are others who say, what can we do around potholes if government is unable to, for whatever reason, to be able to meet out their service delivery obligations, isn't it?
No, it's true. It's a paradigm shift of your mindset. The paradigm shift is, what can I do? It's what can I do to change a situation instead of griping about it. So, in the South African perspective, if we take our community base, approximately 2 million Muslim, we can have a huge impact in uplifting the society in South Africa. South Africa, I think what we're experiencing is a legacy of disparity in income, disparity in the standard of living. And it's bound to go this way. And as a Muslim, again, so I apologize for sermonizing, but as a Muslim, we were sent to South Africa. Let's put us here to have changed the environment, to have afforded the local people, the indigenous people, the opportunities. And that's where we fall short. So, in a way, what's happened is a challenge to us. It's a
Well,
challenge to us to improve everything from health to education to infrastructure. We've got to take it on ourselves.
well, I think you make important points, and hopefully people will be inspired by what you say. Now, what's come through very clearly is your own inspiration in terms of your Islamic ethos, right? It does come through in our conversation. But is there one, is there a person that does inspire, besides Allah? Obviously, you've made that point. Is there someone that in your own journey you're like, wow, this person did something that I look up to every single day, and
No,
use that as maybe the yardstick?
I had several people, mentors, and incidentally. So my dad, my late father, was very inspirational, very charitable man, very, very charitable to a fault. And in his demise, I had other mentors. These are family members who who guided me, and the advisors and the approach to life were very uh, inspirational. I've got a late Uncle Kasim Kaka. I mean, I can't thank a person like that and make enough dua for the person, because
Mhm.
all his life and every conversation we had was based on divine and our duties to Allah and our duties to Sharia. Another very inspirational man is a ex-educator, Mr. Mahmoud Baba, teacher, biology.
Mhm.
And I look at his existence, he's about 80 now, but a man who lives with sukoon. And he's got amazing contentment because his life was spent giving of himself in education
Yeah,
and in other ways,
beautiful.
other community efforts
Yeah, yeah,
also.
yeah,
So
yeah.
these are people that inspire me.
Well, I'm glad that you've shared that with us. I think your community, the Zadul community, richer for that. Absolutely right. Let's end with this. Yeah, you made the point, you went to medical school, but you don't just get to medical school. Something happens. You need to get the marks. You need to get the grades. You need to be able to have the points that gets you into varsity in the first place, right? So something had to happen at high school, because for everyone that does extremely well, there are many others who fall away, right? And it's a big problem in our country, right? If you reflect then on your period at high school, did you have a switch on moment where one day you sat in the classroom and said, okay, this is it, this is what I'm going to do, and this is why I'm going to do it?
No, no, amazingly not, right? Medicine was a career that was by default. I remember clearly after matric, having got an admission for medicine and sitting down with my dad, and he's saying, look, yes, you've got this wits admission, but it's up to you. You could do a BA, you could do a BCom, it's your choice. And it was like, you know what, let me do medicine anyway. I I grew into the profession. And I'm going to say it's not a medical thing. It's not a medical thing that I think it is. I think it's love for interaction with people. I, I enjoy interacting with people. I enjoy helping people. I don't say helping, but just that feeling you get. Even in a medical consultation, if you could make somebody smile, it gives you some inner bliss. So yes, medicine was a career by default, but I grew into it. And the significance of what you're allowed to have done, God given, and I think that was what it was. It could have been education too. It could be anything. I think the all-encompassing compassion. Compassion.
Absolutely.
I think that's it.
Well, I'm
So,
listening to you. We've never met, and I'm listening, and like, I need to get to know this person better because I think absolutely inspiring. And I mean, you said the things that we need to be hearing often, and you made a point about sermonizing, and don't apologize for that because you're simply saying it as it is. And what inspires you inspires you. Thank Allah for that, right? Well, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, Doctor Mohammed Kaka. I'm just reflecting on your career, and like, yeah, as you said, your ability to problem solve, and it just happens to be in the medical field is exactly what you've done, and provide relief for people, which has just been fantastic. So the community of Azanville and the West Rand and the Gauteng and the people of South Africa, I think, are richer for your actions. So most appreciated, and glad that we featured you in this champion spotting feature. Thank you for your time.
Jazakallah.
There
Jazakallah.
we are.
Thank you.
Shukran. There we are, Dr. Mohammed Kaka. That should absolutely inspire you. The winner, recipient of the Community Service Award from the Alliance of South African Independent Practitioners Association. Just listening to him, I mean, come on, are you not inspired? The problem solver, the person who brings relief, and through Allah is the conduit for giving you sukoon in your heart. I mean, don't you want to do just that in whatever it is that you do? As he made the point earlier on, that the prism of what he does is like, what can I do that will Allah be pleased with me? How can I please Allah? Will Allah be pleased with that? Absolutely. We'll chat to Maulana Vanka, Muhammad Vanka, that is the Imam of the Umhlanga Masjid, right after this.